Page 5 now serving up political propaganda at Starbucks. Tuesday, May 29 had been looming large on the calendar for all employees of the world's biggest coffee retailer. This was the day that Starbucks officially overreacted to an incident at one of its stores in Philadelphia. This was the day that Starbucks aimed to end racism and begin a new chapter in American history. This was Implicit Bias Training Day.
Starbucks will be shutting its doors early Tuesday and giving 175,000 of its U.S. employees mandatory anti-bias training. The chain's 8,000 locations across the U.S. will close around 2 p.m. local time for a training on racial tolerance after video emerged of 2 black men being arrested at a Philadelphia location in April. The manager called the police because they hadn't ordered anything. Employees will also watch a short documentary on the history of racism in public spaces. Since the incident, Starbucks has changed its policy to allow people to use its restrooms and linger around its stores even if they don't buy anything.
Now, that's an interesting business model. Imagine if all companies change policy to allow anyone at any time into their businesses. How would that work, say, for the airline industry? How about the Ruth Chris Steakhouse chain? How will it work for Starbucks? And what if Starbucks employees do not agree with this indoctrination? Then what? Joining me now on the Daily Ledger Page 5 beat, the founder of the American Truth Project and Daily Ledger contributor, Barry Nussbaum. Barry, implicit bias, let's start there. This is a phony, made-up term by the previous administration, that would be the Obama administration, as a predicate, as a foundation to advance things like Black Lives Matter and to attack and destroy people in police forces, police officers, the criminal justice system. That's why they initially minted this term.
Graham, there is so much implicit and explicit bias behind what's happening today, and I can't believe it's not in the press. Get this, the founder of the Women's March, Tamika Mallory, who is African-American, came out after this occurred and said, don't you dare, Starbucks, hire the ADL to help you with diversity training. The ADL is the nation's oldest trainer of diversity training, helping African Americans, Jews, and other minorities. Why is she against the ADL? Because the ADL doesn't like the fact that Louis Farrakhan, who hates Jews, hates Christians, hates white people, is getting a bad rap from them. Tamika Mallory, his best friend, says, oh no, you must hate black and brown people because you don't support this hate monger. What did Starbucks do, Graham? They caved in. They went along with her racism and they threw out the ADL. So the whole diversity training is based on hate to begin with.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's upside down. And, you know, implicit bias really can be distilled to a human being's judgment. And I think that without judgment, human beings wouldn't be human beings. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that we all have implicit biases built into us based on our experiences in life. For example, I have implicit bias. I have implicit bias against illegal immigrants, for example, because I know that they are violating our sovereignty as a nation. They're violating the law, and many of them come here to siphon off Americans who pay taxes, who end up paying and subsidizing their living in our country illegally. So there's an example of implicit bias that isn't necessarily immoral and is completely legal.
You know, you are touching on the nexus of human relations and business. One of the things that I think is going to be terrible after today is open restrooms, Graham. Everybody gets to use the potty at Starbucks now, and people are in there already doing their laundry and taking showers in the sink. How is that going to be for business? If I was a shareholder, I'd be running for a different coffee company to invest in after today.
It's suicidal to run a business this way, and I would proffer that most businesses in this country rightfully would reject what Starbucks is doing across the board, from beginning to end, what they're doing, and their reaction to a singular incident that happened in Philadelphia. And this is just nothing more than a phony PR effort to make them look sensitive, which may in the end be rather insensitive to their entire business model. Time will tell. Barry, thank you.